The amazing with Jake. What's going on, my man?
What's going on, man? Sorry about last night, but we're here. We got the gear. I got three shirts, two
Oh,
hats. I'm all geared up, and why would I not be? After a 53-year wait, I was what in the 73, negative 18. So now I'm 35.
wow, man. Listen, I got to be honest with you. I know it. Like, there was a lot of different conversations. You see, I'm a Philly guy, so I'm in Philly. It's like you can't root for the Nova Knicks. You can't root for the Knicks, man. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm definitely not that guy. But I just don't know how you say you can't root for what you just saw throughout those playoffs. I mean, what you guys lost one game, right? You lose one game, and just the father son connection with JB and Rick, and Rick's a Temple guy, so obviously local for me here. So I just don't know how you can't root for that, man.
Yeah, and of course you got the Villanova connection there in PA as well. So, listen, if you were rooting for the Spurs to win, the race for Sace, and you're rooting for Wemby, who arguably one of the dirtiest players in the league, he showed, and just lack of class from a lot of players on that team. Luke Cornett, maybe the only one showing class, who actually was, dapping guys up after they lost the series. But the reality is they were tough to root for the Spurs. No matter what fan you were, the Knicks were not tough to root for. Now you can argue some people hate, the way some Knicks fans celebrate a very minimal amount, by the way. When you have millions of people in, the streets of New York City, there's obviously going to be some hooligans. That's just how the numbers work. You're not going to have 2 million people out in the streets and they're all going to be saints. Some of them were raised poorly. Some of them just are terrible people. That's life. You don't have saints everywhere you go and perfect people. I'm sorry. I know they got the nuns out there and Sister Act 2 being filmed in San Antonio. But listen, not everything's all roses in the Big Apple. But the reality is the team was fun. They were incredibly well coached. Mike Brown let the team coach themselves at times, and you saw Cat leading huddles. You saw Cat really taking over as a real leader after Jalen Brunson, and you saw the captain when everyone else was struggling to make shots in the biggest game score 45 points and do something unprecedented. So this was a 1 through 12 effort to the point Ariel Huckporty, who was the last player on the bench, was playing minutes in game 5. Landry Shamet was hitting massive shots throughout the playoffs. This was a much deeper team than Tom Thibodeau's Knicks last year, and I think you saw that difference. This team was less gassed because they had faith in big spots. You had Jose Alvarado getting big minutes in the fourth quarter in the NBA Finals. That was a big difference. Guys were, they weren't as hard worked maybe with Thibodeau, and that was a move that was really critiqued, and it seemed to work to fruition. What a season, man. And I'm still on cloud nine. I can't wait for the parade, and I'm hoping just to get a view of everything Thursday without having to piss my pants waiting for hours on the streets of New York.
I love it, man. And listen, I'm happy for you. Again, we're talking to Jake Brown right here. Give him a follow at Jake Brown Live. You see scrolling across the scene. Make sure you go follow his YouTube channel as well at Jake Brown Live. I mean, listen, you've heard him everywhere. New York Post, the WFAN, CBS, Sirius XM. The guy's everywhere now. He's doing a bunch of different things. And I wanted to get him on here because number one, I want to give him the opportunity to glow, man. He deserves it, right? Said a lot of different things, but also there's a lot of other things going on in New York. And I want to talk, I want to go along the NFC East. All right, no, we'll get to that later, but let's go NL East. Okay, we talk to baseball because my Phillies start off, they were terrible. We fired a manager. We kind of reclaimed some credibility a little bit, but the Mets kind of same thing, man. Like, I'm looking at them and I'm like, what is this team, right? You got two guys in Marcus Simeon, who you got over, who I was a big fan of, but looks like maybe he's just not, he maybe aids out a little bit. And then we talk about Bo Bichette. I mean, what's going on in Metland, man?
Well, what we should have done is what you guys did and fire Carlos Mendoza. Lame duck manager. He's in the final year of his contract. I've heard that coaches last year did not like Carlos Mendoza. He's still around, and I don't understand it. I don't understand the allegiance to this guy. And some people will say it's David Stearns now wanting to get all the blame on him, and that's why he's keeping him around. So Mendoza gets some of the blame. I don't know if he's got pictures of David Stearns. I don't know what it is about their love for this robot, Carlos Mendoza. He is part of the problem. But you saw the Phillies make a change. Now, the Phillies is a different situation. You had Don Mattingly as a bench coach. He is obviously the father of the GM, who was his son, in a rare, nepotism spot where it's a father-son connection. But the Mets, I guess, don't have faith in Kai Correa. They don't have faith in AAA manager Dick Scott taking over. Carlos Beltran has Hall of Fame commitments. He's not going to be able to take over. Alex Cora is taking the year off. So they must not have faith in any of the rest of their coaching staff. And I think that's something that, is not being talked about. This is not a good coaching staff. This is a young coaching staff that is not helping this team get better and get over that hump and motivate this team. I mean, that 12-game losing streak did them in. You remove that 12-game losing streak. This is at the worst a 500 team, and that streak really crushed them. Bo Bichette's coming around. So as Bo Bichette has been a reason for their struggles, last 2 weeks he's on an absolute tear. He had 3 hits tonight. Mets are down again, smoked tonight. It's 12-0. But the injuries have really crushed them. You have 12, 13 guys on the injured list. Now Christian Scott today goes in the IL. Kodai Senga comes back tomorrow, but the story of Kodai Senga is he's either been hurt or ineffective since his incredible rookie year. He just hasn't been out there. So Senga's role is incredibly important now coming back tomorrow. The Mets are hanging by, a thread because of the fact that the parity in the league and teams not playing that well. There's only like 2 or 3 teams in all of baseball that are out of it right now. That's rarely the case. At this point, usually have 4 or 5 teams that are dead in the water, but the Mets are still 5.5, 6 out, which is not good, but it's not completely dead yet. So for me, it's a combination of things. It's the manager. It's the injuries. It's, Jorge Polanco's injury. First base, Mark Vientos sucks. Like, the Mets have this love affair with Brett Baty and Mark Vientos, and that's where, to me, David Stearns did wrong. I like the Nimmo trade. Simeon is coming around. He's been fine. Carson Bench and A.J. Ewing look like studs in the outfield, young pieces out there. But first base, I was good with moving on from Alonso, but Jorge Polanco just hasn't played. And, he is Jed Lowry 2.0 out there because he's just not out there. And now they're saying when he comes back, he's a DH. So they're just putting themselves in bad spots at first base. At third base, Lindor being out has killed them. Whether you like Lindor, not like Lindor, that hole in the lineup has been massive. He's expected to be back Saturday. So the reality is they have to hang afloat this next week, stay around 6, 7 games under 500, and hope that Lindor provides a spark. But, I'm just happy the Knicks won because I now have no expectations for the Mets. This team, I thought would be a World Series contender, and they look like a pretender right now.
So it's funny you talk about that because it's like, all right, we got the championship, we got the chip. Now we don't have to worry about it. Like, we've done that in Philadelphia. So I completely understand it. I want to ask one thing about one guy you didn't mention, and obviously because he's the mainstay, and that's Juan Soto. I'm not a Soto guy. Just not. Listen, I will never take away his talents. I know he's one, but I just feel like there's a negative Soto culture that comes with him. You see him obviously not run things out. Sometimes he's not the biggest team first kind of guy. Do you get that being out there in New York, or is that just kind of like the media portrayal that we all see?
I think it's a mix of both. I do think that not running out balls is infuriating at this point of your career. But the reality is he puts up the numbers. I mean, he's a 300 hitter, 400 on base guy. He's got 15 homers and minimum. And, he missed a few weeks. He's been on a heater. The numbers just don't really back that narrative up. Now, the clips will always go viral of him not running it out. I think there is some disconnect, but he also has been kind of this quote unquote leader in terms of like these young guys love him. He calls them the psychopaths, like they got their own handshakes. I don't think he's been like this negative or in the clubhouse, but I do understand there is an ego there. There is, maybe things behind the scenes where he just is not the prototypical leader. And, because of things that go wrong with him and the money that he makes, it's really the money is like that black cloud. It's like, oh, you make 800 million, 15, it's going to be 800 plus. We all say the 765 number after year 5, it raises 5 million each year. So it's going to be 805 million when it's all said and done, assuming he sticks around. When you see that number, you expect him to run out. You expect the team to win. But I think there's just extra pressure on him because Lindor's been out, because of the injuries. The ineffectiveness of both David Peterson and Sean Manaea has crushed this team. Those are 2 guys in your starting rotation who got relegated to the bullpen, who have been terrible, for the most part, in the bullpen and in the rotation, and there's nothing you can do about it. You cannot trade them right now. There's just nobody who wants them. Sean Manaea has $25 million on his contract next season. He's an untradeable contract. So, Soto's going to get a lot of extra heat because of what he makes and moments where he doesn't run balls out. But his numbers to me are just too good for me to really put blame on him. It's really everything else that's caused the Mets issues.
You're right though. Then he gets the numbers. I mean, at the end of the day, he gets the numbers, and he's. Listen, he's got a lot of game left to play too. So that's That's the
And I
crazy
think
part.
it's hurt him that he hasn't had that seminal moment. Like he hasn't had those walk-offs. In crunch time, he really has not had those big hits. And that I will knock him. I do think in big spots he has failed in times, which has been frustrating. But again, I think the other issues are bigger than Soto.
The bigger than so. Well, let's talk about, let's shift this again. We're talking to Jake Brown. Make sure you follow him at Jake Brown Live. Follow the YouTube channel as always. Amazing with Jake. He does so much. He's just so active on X. Um, Speaking of the NFC East, let's talk a little football because I am a Harbaugh guy. I love Mr. Harbaugh. Again, John Harbaugh to me, obviously special teams coordinator in Philadelphia, got his first shot in Baltimore. Now he's with the Giants. So before I get to a couple bets that I'm looking at, but just your overall viewpoint of Harbaugh now being the coach of the New York Giants.
Yeah, I think there's like a portion of the Giants fan base that thinks he's going to turn them into like a Super Bowl champion here year one. I
Yeah,
think people got to be realistic. Are the Giants going to be better with John Harbaugh? Yes. Are the Giants going to the playoffs with him this year? I'd be shocked. Now, I think they've had a pretty good offseason. I think they've added some valuable pieces. I like what they did. Listen, for the receiver day, whatever that was, with Juju, with OBJ and Braxton Berrios giving them non-guaranteed deals. Why not? You get a couple of veterans in there. Obviously, those guys have played with some of the guys on this roster in the past. There's a lot of familiarity with them in general. They've all won at some point of their careers. I think it's important to bring in winners. But we need to see a full year of Jaxson Dart. And we need to see a full year of Camp Scatterbo. We have seen so much more of Camp Scatterbo, on live streams, bashing his head at Knicks games, at all these crazy things that he does. That we worry about his his brain. That is something we worry about. That he's got some issues. It's we laugh at it. Obviously, we know CT is not a joking matter, but like
right.
he's a lunatic. He is an absolute lunatic, and we need to see it on the field. And obviously, he hasn't been healthy, but you need him to return from that ACL. I mean, he had that brutal injury. It was more than just an ACL tear. So they need him, and they need that duo to produce on the field. And then they got to hope for lighting in a bottle from those veteran receivers. But they're definitely going to be more disciplined, better coached, and I think that gets them a couple more wins. I just don't think the Giants are a 10-win team. I'm looking at them. What is the number on the win totals? Is it five and a
So
half?
it's over under 7.5.
That is a tough one.
Vegas got that number right, man. It's right there. It's
I would
right
go
there.
under. I would say they're a 6 to 7 win team. I don't think they're there 8. I think if everyone's healthy, everything breaks right, those veterans make the team and contribute, they can get to 8. But to me, I like the 6 to 7 range, so I would go under.
I like that. I do. I like that. Even though I think you get that extra 1 or 2 wins based on the head coach, just from experience. But like you said, there's a lot of health concerns with this team, right? And we have to see it all click. They decide to move on, right? Wandell Robinson goes away, and like you said, they bring in a lot of veterans. What's Malik Neighbors? I mean, it looks like that was a pretty bad injury too.
That's
So
another guy that's like talking more off the field. Like what he said about criticizing the Giants. I'm like, bro, just get healthy. Stop
yeah,
going on a Bleacher Report or wherever it was
yep,
and criticizing your own team. Like some of these guys, like, and I get it. I've said dumb things. Like we've all said dumb things.
of
It's
course.
part of life, of course. But like, just and I'm not gonna say shut up and play. I'm not gonna be that person, but I think there's a level of tone deafness that goes on there where it's like, bro, you've been in the league a minute and you've been hurt more than you've played. You got to go out there and ball and let the GM do the GM stuff. Now, Joe Shane is, it's Leon Rose is going to be on a float on Thursday. There's people who want to float Joe Shane out of town. He got a contract extension. I don't think he's a terrible GM, but I don't think he's been great. Obviously, the team has had very little success. So, I think they have a lot of issues on defense in that secondary. They have to get cleaned up. You hope being coached by Harbaugh, the defense is going to be better just for that simple fact. But again, a coach is still not playing. As much experience as he has, young guys who aren't good are still young guys who aren't good. And you're hoping that coaching develops them. Like I said, it hasn't happened with the Mets. Let's see if it happens with the Giants. And I just think too many things have to break right for them to be a playoff team. And, injuries are always part of the game. And listen, your superstar running back is coming. Your superstar your number one running back, number one receiver are coming back from brutal knee injuries where they're maybe not even ready for the start of the season. So how are you going to tell me without number one receiver and number one running back, you're winning 9 or 10 games? To me, it just doesn't make sense.
No, I agree because I mean, realistically, they could both start off on a PUP list, right? I mean, they just could. You just never know. Now, speaking of young, you talk about Jaxson Dart. Yeah, he has an over and under of 19 and a half passing touchdowns right now. So looking at that and seeing the kind of guy he is, and obviously he likes to run a lot. See how Harbaugh kind of teams him up like he did with Lamar. What do you think with Jaxson Dart here over and under 19 and a half?
I think if the veteran receivers play out, I think he hits the over on that because you just do the math, and if he stays healthy, that's about 1.3 a game. My mom was a math teacher. My mom's a math teacher. Shout out to Mama
To
Brown.
be proud right now.
Yeah, so I think that's right. It's in the 1.2. I don't want to start pi 3.14,
I'll do that.
It's like 1.26. So that's an attainable number. If Neighbors is healthy, listen, OBJ, we know what that's for. It was an emotional signing. He might not pan out. He has not been able to stay healthy. But if a couple, two of those guys pan out, they have some youth in that receiver room. You have a little bit better action in the tight end room this year. There's no reason he should not throw for 21, 22 touchdowns. So I like the under on the Giants wins, but I'll take the over on Dart touchdowns.
I like it, dude. I like it, man. I'm with you. I'm looking at him between about 23 to 25 range this year. I think that he could be really good, especially I just like his heart too, man. He is passionate. He's got a heart. It's kind of like that the way Bo Nix was in Denver, which is like the guy is just driven. So I totally like that. Jake, I got one more question for you before I get you out of here. It's the side market because I'm curious to what you're going to say. It's 75 yards, no timeouts. Season is on the line. Who's the first quarterback you're calling? Can be past or present.
Oh,
yeah.
That's a good question. I'm gonna go Patty Mahomes. I just think he's just so clutch, and just the way he could throw with his left hand, sidearm, under. He runs, in the biggest moments possible. He just makes the most magical throws. So I'm going Patrick Mahomes.
I like that, man. Listen, I'm glad that we beat Patrick Mahomes for a Super Bowl, but I also I love his game. Obviously, love his game. So
I thought you were going to say like a Jets or Giants quarterback, and that Giants is obvious. You go Eli, but Jets I really would have had to think like it probably would be like a Vinny Testaverde, but like I'm not confidently saying Vinny Testaverde, but that's how inept their quarterback play has been. I'm not saying Geno Smith. I'm certain whatever the Jets under is, take the under. What is it? I assume it's 6.5 wins. I hope they can win 7+, but Geno Smith is not leading the Jets to the promised land.
No, definitely not, man. There he is, Jake Brown, man. Give him a follow at Jake Brown Live. Follow the YouTube channel. Amazing with Jake. Jake, thanks so much for hopping on, man, and talking some New York stuff, brother. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And if you're a sports card collector, hop on a break with us at Filth Bomb Breaks. I'm out here in Long Island, and we're breaking open cards. There's sports and sports cards. Collectors go hand in hand. I grew up collecting cards, so it's been fun starting here. And yeah, I'll be at the parade Thursday again. I'm just praying there's porta potties. If not, I hope I get a Pamper sponsor because I might have to piss my pants or just if pissing your pants is cool. If pissing your pants is cool, consider me Miles Davis, in the words of Billy Madison or whatever that Adam Sandler movie that was.
Oh my God, I love it, man. Breaking cards, talking sports, and going to parades. There he is, Jake Brown. Thanks, brother. I appreciate it. We have you back on. We'll see how those bets are lining up for those New York Football Giants.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me, man.
Have a great night. There he is, Jake Brown, man. Listen, a lot of good stuff right there. A lot of good stuff. And make sure you go give him a follow at Jake Brown Live.